What's going on, guys? I am Toxic Jordan. Welcome back to the channel. So today we are going to be looking through the list of stuff that came with update 5.2.5.0, 5.25.0, sorry. So yeah, obviously this came with Dokkan 2 and a lot of those fancy UI updates and things like that. But this was also a massive update in preparation for part 1 of the anniversary. So as you can see here in this little, quick screenshot of the folder, there is a lot of different assets that have showed up, most of which are like brand new things that we haven't seen before. So we are going to take a deep dive in here, and shout outs to Proton for always putting these together. One of the best Dokkan Twitter accounts to follow if you are not already. Okay, so we'll just kind of go down here one by one. There are quite a few different things that we're going to have to segue and talk about. So starting out, very first thing here, we've got, this is the new login card that'll be available at the start of the 10th anniversary. So we will go over his character kit. I guess we might as well do it now since he's here, since it's just showing this. I don't know that I necessarily want to go, well, we'll just go in order. We'll keep it easy and go in order. That way we don't get lost, we don't lose track of where we're at or anything. Okay, so this guy's kit obviously is nothing fancy at all. All types 40% lead. His basic effects, he gets 100% stats and 10% damage reduction. When he's doing a super attack, he gets an additional 100% stats, and then for 10 turns, he gets 100% stats, an additional 10% damage reduction, and then all allies 10%. So obviously all the stats in his kit deal with 10s. He's raising attack and defense for 10 turns, right? Which makes sense as being the 10th anniversary character. So an interesting thing is that he's only an SSR, and obviously he'll awaken to UR, but that's all he is right now. The last year's headlining unit, this Gogeta right here, he actually dropped as a TUR, and then got an EZA, and, became like max level 140. So, a little bit different. This was the first time they did that, right? And the only time they did that, and then since then we're now going back, I guess, to just the normal UR thing. The thing that I'm worried about with this is that all of the other anniversary units starting, well, okay, the first anniversary unit was a UR, and then like an SSR just like this, and then the second anniversary unit is the same unit, but it's just a Dokkan Awakening of the first anniversary unit. And then, starting from the third anniversary onward, they always just released an SSR that could awaken to UR, and that's it. And they've never done anything else with any of those characters, except for during the 9th anniversary when they made him, go up to the TUR level as in base and then EZA. So I think my assumption of what they're going to do here, my prediction, is that this is going to be an LR. I think this will be a login LR. I think they're just going to continue to give us more and more copies of him, and then by the end of the anniversary, we will have gotten more than 20, 25 copies or whatever it would take. I guess it would be 24 copies if he was just a Super Attack 20 LR, and then if he got an EZA, it would be 29 copies or whatever, right? That they would have to give us for us to fully free-to-play fill him out. So yeah, I think that we could see that. Maybe like he gets more and more awakenings as the anniversary goes on, and then by the end of it, he's an EZA'd LR that actually is like really, really busted with all this damage reduction and stuff. So yeah, that's what I'm hoping to see. Nothing too insane right now. One other little thing I did want to note, though, is that if we take a look at his categories here, he is not on any of the Saga categories, right? So he's not on Dragon Ball Saga, he's not on... he's obviously not from GT, and then it doesn't list that he's from any of the specific sagas within Z. So Saiyan Saga, Frieza, the Namek Saga, the Buu Saga, the Cell Saga. He's not on any of those. He's also not on movie heroes, so he's not from a movie. And then he's also not on like superheroes, being from Dragon Ball Super. So the fact that he's on none of those means he's not on the 10th anniversary roadmap. That's actually kind of an interesting thing I didn't even notice when I was making the roadmap video. Yeah, he's not even on there. So technically it is a brand new character, though only free to play. I guess because he's free to play, that's why they're kind of using him as an exemption from the roadmap. But yeah, there literally isn't a spot for him on that 10th anniversary roadmap. So kind of interesting that they would just choose to exclude this brand new unit that they have designed. Put a little respect on my man's name, you know what I'm saying? Okay, let's go ahead and head back to the thread. So obviously we're going to have to wait till later in the anniversary to see if this guy gets any buffs that make him actually usable. But as of right now, he is obviously just there for collection purposes as usual. Okay, so then we've got 2 brand new categories that have been shown to us. So it's pretty safe assumption that these are going to be our new 10th anniversary categories. That, you know, we don't know which units specifically are going to be assigned to these yet, but that is okay. We can take a look at that in a moment. First category that we've got here is Earth Protecting Heroes. We'll go ahead and put this little toggle on if you're unfamiliar with what that does. Because we're on the global version right now, it will basically show everything between both versions of the game, between global and JP. Whereas if it's unticked, it's only going to show us what's on global. But we'll just leave it ticked. It's going to be exactly the same for now, but just in case. So we'll take a look through here. Earth Protecting Heroes. Now, when I first heard the name of this category, and even kind of seeing the list of characters, I'm a little bit... It makes me upset about the Saviors category, right? There's no place really in-game where they have, you know, detailed and, like, outlined for us exactly what the different categories mean. It's just kind of, we can assume, based on a lot of them, what they mean. Because, I mean, a lot of them are very obvious, just based on, like, whatever race the character is and stuff like that. Usually you can tell, or, like, what episode number they're from in the show, you know exactly which saga they're going to be from and stuff like that. But a lot of the weirder ones, right, that are just a little bit harder to interpret, like Mastered Evolution, Full Power, Rapid Growth, you know, Saviors, like a lot of those more random weird categories where it's just kind of up to interpretation what ends up on it. I feel like that's usually where Dokkan takes their L's with new categories, and I feel like they're kind of doing the same thing here. So I think the thing that people are noticing is the most consistent is like characters who have won against their enemies, right? Now, it's been a couple of years since I've done a full watch through of Dragon Ball, so there are a lot of key moments and key fights throughout the series, you know, especially in some of the movies and stuff like that. And then like in GT, my goodness, I haven't seen GT in so long. But yeah, so I can't exactly remember like what all the fights are from and stuff. Some YouTubers are very impressive to me that they are just able to be encyclopedias for, you know, anything and everything Dragon Ball, and they know exactly what moments all of these characters are from. Definitely not me. I do not have that kind of brain power. Yeah, the marijuana usage over the years has definitely zapped my memory. Definitely not capable of that. But what I will say is that this looks like a much more filled out category than Saviors, which is a good thing, right? But I feel like it kind of makes Saviors obsolete, because if these are going to be people that protected, you know, Earth protecting heroes, so then I guess the only difference would be Saviors doesn't specifically say Earth. That's one big thing here, that I think there were a couple of characters people were hoping would be on this category, or they were confused why they're not. And I think that explains it all perfectly. So... and then I think like even this baby or this Super Saiyan 4 Goku did not fight on Earth when he was fighting against Baby, but because Baby's goal was to take over the Earth, the fight didn't need to happen on Earth in order for him to become an Earth protecting hero, right? So basically it's anybody that's defeated an enemy that the enemy's goal was to destroy the Earth. So, like, you're not going to have Namek Goku on here because they fought on Namek, right? So Frieza was just trying to destroy Namek. That doesn't have anything to do with Earth, so he wouldn't be there considered like an Earth-protecting hero, even though he did defeat Frieza, right? So yeah, seems like a pretty decent category. Obviously could get a lot better. This just seems like a suboptimal version of, like, categories that we already have. I mean, it's a lot of Saiyan units on here, right? Yeah, this is very similar to like some superhero builds we can do, some Buu Saga builds we can do. Like, it seems like a lot of the best units on here are on some of the best categories in the game already. Like Accelerated Battle is a category that comes to mind. A lot of these units are already on that. Yeah, so I'm not sure how useful this new category is going to be. But obviously we got to keep in mind that is very true of a lot of different categories, right? When Super Bosses first came out, that category was trash. There was no one on it. And then they have decently buffed it over time. It has gotten a lot better. Same thing with Uncontrollable Power, the last Worldwide Download Celebration new category that released. That category was horrible when it first released, and then they just massively buffed it over the months to come. So I imagine that they're going to continue to focus here and give us more and more Earth Protecting Heroes cards to buff this category. Okay, so the second category that we've got to take a look at here is successors. So this is a little bit interesting. At first, when I heard the name of the category, I thought it was going to be that category that we were hoping for of, like, you know how you have movie bosses, but then all of the henchmen that aren't actually the final boss just don't get to be on movie bosses, even though they're evil villains that fight against superclass, allies from movies. They just don't get anything. I thought that's what this was going to be, was successors was going to be all of the, like, underlings and stuff. That could be kind of a cool category. To see, like, Thouser and Frieza soldiers and things like that, like any of, like, Turles' henchmen or Bojack's henchmen or whatever, would all end up on a category like this. I think that could be kind of cool. There could be some stuff there with, like, maybe you would consider, like, Boo a henchman of Babidi, and, like, Dabura, like, any of the Majins, anybody that's got an M on their forehead is going to be on the successor category, right? Like, to be an underling of Babidi or something. So yeah, I thought that could be a cool idea, but it turns out what successors actually is it's like anyone that's been granted their power, right? So, like, not necessarily their physical power. We're not talking about, like, the way that Gohan was granted his power by the Grand Elder Guru and just given and awakened to his hidden potential. Not like that way of granting, but more granting, like, status of royalty and things like that. So if we notice, I guess we can assume every Vegeta card in the game is on here, because he is the Prince of the Saiyans, so he has inherited that status for himself, right? Being the son of King Vegeta. And then I would think King Vegeta would be on here too, yeah. Because obviously at some point prior to King Vegeta, there was another king before him. So yeah, he was granted his power as well. So basically anybody that's got king in their name, right? King Colt, at some point he was gifted the title of king, and there was somebody else that was king before him. Demon King Piccolo, same deal here, right? If we look at units like Rose, makes sense because all Zamasu cards are going to be on here too, right? Just being a Supreme Kai in training under Gowasu definitely means he got that kind of power. So it's a little bit interesting to see that, like, cards like Beerus and Champa on here. I'm not sure exactly what prompts their existence here, because they are Gods of Destruction now. I suppose it's just because when we learn about the Gods of Destruction, especially when we're focused on Universe 11, and then we find out what Jiren and Toppo are capable of doing, that they are essentially Gods of Destruction in training. And then, tiny manga spoiler, skip forward 20 seconds if you don't want to hear it. But there also does come a point in the mangas where Goku and Vegeta entertain with the idea of, like, the Galactic Patrol, and then potentially doing, some of their own God of Destruction training is like a potential thing that I don't know if it actually happens. I haven't read the manga myself, but I know it's at least talked about. It's something that is put forth to them as a possibility, right? That actually might have been in the end of Super. I don't remember. If that dialogue was put there, or if that's just info I know from manga happenings. But yeah, so because you aren't inherently born as a God of Destruction, and it's possible to become one, then I guess this is the indicator for us that Beerus and Champa were not born Gods of Destruction, and that they actually worked for this power and were granted this power over time and trained to become what they are. So yeah, kind of interesting. Is there anybody else here? Yeah, obviously all the Frieza cards being underneath King Cold, and then the Piccolo cards being underneath Demon King Piccolo. Makes sense there. Okay, so we have some Trunks cards as well. It's just GT Trunks, though. It's Xeno Trunks and GT Trunks. Again, I've never played the Xenoverse series, and it's been so long since I've seen GT, so I'm not sure exactly what plot points are different that would indicate, like, Trunks, maybe they play it up more of his lineage behind Vegeta, that he's supposed to become the new Prince of Saiyans behind Vegeta or something. I don't know. I'm not sure about that. But yeah, so this successor category seems interesting. It does seem a little bit limited to, like, specific. It's kind of like, it's just like the Vegeta, Piccolo, Frieza, Zamasu category, with a little bit of Beerus in there. And then there's like a couple other characters here. I guess there's a decent amount of crossover characters in here too. Even, like, a couple. Was that a Heroes character? Where did we just see him? Oh no, just like these guys. Yeah. Yeah, so I don't know. Overall, could be better. It's not a terrible category. It is a decent idea. We're going to see an interesting mix of characters. There are a lot of these characters. This is another one of those categories that's going to be heavily mixing between super and extreme class. Those kind of categories have always fallen off very quickly and not been like relevant categories that people use, right? Things like full power is another one that comes to mind, where it's like very, very split between the strongest units on the category are split between being super type or being extreme type. So you end up just having multiple kinds of, builds that you can put forth in the one category. But the problem for those kind of categories, especially while they're new, is that they don't have multiple types of leaders. So if this category is given to an extreme class leader, we're probably going to be running the extreme class version of this category and ignoring a lot of the super class units that are on here. A lot of the Vegeta cards, a lot of the Piccolo cards and stuff, right? And it would be mostly like a Frieza category anyway. Like Frieza and Zamasu together. So yeah, I don't know. It's kind of interesting. It seems like a decent idea to be able to give us a different mix of certain villains paired up together and stuff. But yeah, overall, I'm not too excited about this category. I would say the Earth Protecting Heroes one is a little bit better. I think this is basically going to end up being what the Saviors category was always supposed to be, but didn't end up being. Okay, so really quick, we know we have these two. Leader skills here, but obviously we don't know what units they are going to align with yet. So let's go ahead and take a quick glance at the roadmap that we've got here. So this is that roadmap for the 10th anniversary. Again, we've already gone over tons of speculation and stuff. Everyone's got a video on YouTube speculating what this roadmap's going to look like when it's fully filled out. But one of the things that we can mention here is we know we're going to have 3 like 200% lead headliners, right? We've got the one Dokkan Fest that is the Super Vegito here, and then we have the 2 Carnival LRs with the Super Saiyan 4 Goku and the Blue Vegeta. So it's pretty safe to assume that the new leader skill would go to the Dokkan Fest, right? I think what's most likely to happen here is that the 2 Carnival LRs will either have a singular 200% leader skill or a double 200% leader skill. We could potentially see that too if they wanted to step things up on us. There are a couple of different 200% leads that, Carnival LRs that do have the double 200% lead thing. So hopefully we'll see that trend continue. Though it hasn't been super consistent up to this point, so we'll see. But yeah, I would imagine that they wouldn't be getting brand new categories. I think it would be pretty bold of them to release a brand new category in the game that doesn't exist and then just give it a flat 200% leader skill out the gates. Probably not, right? So I think it's more likely that we'll see one of the new categories on the Super Vegito here. Which obviously, because we know that Super Vegito fights against Boo on Earth and wins, we know that this guy is going to be on the Earth Protecting Heroes category. Obviously would not be on the Successors category, as it is a... Well... Okay, I'll say this. Because the way that the card is written in base, it's a... Let me actually pull this up really quick, because I want to show this. Okay, so this is what I wanted to show here, was that the actual, like, title name of this character is Super Saiyan Goku with a plus sign Super Saiyan Vegeta Angel. So there's some speculation about this unit. People don't know yet what the categories are going to look like, because obviously we know Dokkan operates a little bit differently than a game like, say, Legends. Anytime there's a Join Forces card on Legends, any of the categories that would be on the card, if it were either one of the individual units, shows up on that card, right? Whereas for the way it works for Dokkan is there's a couple of different ways that they do those, like, quote-unquote tag style units, right? Because it can either be a transformation, and if it is a transformation, you're only going to get or I guess you'll get the categories of, like, everything going through the transformations. That's why you have something like Transforming Goku, who starts out as Super Saiyan 1, but because one of his transformations goes to Super Saiyan 3, he's on the Super Saiyan 3 category, right? So transformations usually will indicate, like, categories being added. If it's an exchange unit, so if it's Super Saiyan Goku / Super Saiyan Vegeta, then you only get the categories that Super Saiyan Goku would have, and then the Super Saiyan Vegeta is just an afterthought. He's thrown on the card, but his categories aren't considered, right? We don't know what it's going to look like yet with this. I would hope that this, like, perfectly mimics the Legends tag system, where now any categories that Super Saiyan Goku would have are going to be on this card, and any categories that Super Saiyan Vegeta Angel has would be on this card. Which, if that were the case, then that means Super Saiyan Vegeta Angel being a Vegeta unit, being a successor of King Vegeta, would mean this card would have successors, right? So we know it's going to have, heroes protecting Earth, or Earth protecting heroes is what it's called. And it might have successors, but because of Goku being on here, I don't think it makes sense for successors to be one of the leader skills for this card, right? So it's possible to be on the category. Would be cool if they're on the category. But I think it's more likely that they are going to be leading the Earth protecting heroes category. And then, but yeah, and then it wouldn't really make sense for either of these ones to just get the other new leader skill, right? I mean, especially because, again, both of them include Goku, so it doesn't really make sense for them to be successors because he doesn't fall under that category. So yeah, it's more likely that the successors category is going to be the Dokkan Fest leader skill for whatever the Part 2 LR ends up being. So yeah, we'll have to see what that looks like, which actually, because of what we just talked about here, let's get back to this. Okay. So then that means basically we know that the Part 2 Dokkan Fest is going to be one of these units. I think the biggest speculation going around in the community right now is that the Part 2 Dokkan Fest was going to be like a family Kamehameha. Because they were saying, that like the Dokkan Fests are going to be based around family and rivals and things like that. But that wouldn't fall under the successors thing. So it's more likely that our guess for who's going to be, that Part 2 Dokkan Fest LR is going to be someone on successors. So maybe I was talking about there being like a banner unit Golden Frieza to follow along with, something in Part 1 maybe, but maybe it's actually going to be like an LR Golden Frieza. Because Frieza would be on successors, and then that would follow the roadmap here for one of our new Dragon Ball Super headliners. So it could be like a Frieza, an LR Golden Frieza with some type of banner unit that goes along with it, and then that would cover the 2 new slots for Super. Could be interesting to see. Yeah, I wonder. But yeah, so I think that's my most likely guess at this point, is that it'd be like a Frieza of some kind. But yeah, we'll just have to wait and see what ends up showing up. But yeah, I think it's pretty likely that the successors category is going to be whatever the Part 2 Dokkan Fest is. We'll have that category leader skill. Okay, so moving on from those, we've got just a bunch of new event scripts and assets in here, tons of new stages and stuff. There are so many events coming. I cannot wait for Part 1 of this anniversary to start. There's going to be an insane amount of new content. Here they're showing the anniversary battles. They're actually going to be redoing all the anniversary battles and giving us better equips that we can earn as we go through these fights, so that will be cool. I think this is another thing that really strongly indicates that they're going to Super EZA the Year 1 anniversary headliners, right? It would make sense because they're updating them and giving them better equips and stuff. Okay, yeah, so we'll talk more about like all that content as stuff drops and we go through events and play. Okay, so then the next thing that's been announced is the 2 Super EZAs here for AGL Vegito Blue, or for AGL Super Vegito, and then the Int Buhan. So we're gonna go ahead and take a look at their kits real quick, see if they are anything exciting to look at. Okay, so first we have Boo here. So obviously leader skill doesn't change. He's still at 100% to int types. Okay, basic effects. He's got 200% at the start of turn, launches a guaranteed additional super, changes Keysphere's tech to rainbow. Okay. Oh, I wonder if this is something that updated in game. I didn't actually check the way this works in when I was doing the Dokkan 2 like walkthrough, I guess. They have reworded the way that these work. Yeah, no, it used to be worded like this. Randomly changes keyspheres of a certain type to whatever. Changes keysphere, but maybe it's because it's a specific type that it goes tech to rainbow, but if it's random, it's always going to be worded like this. I wonder. It would be cool if they eventually created like a symbol that means random. So then they could just, instead of putting tech, they would just put the random symbol to rainbow, and you would know it's a random type that changes to rainbow. Could be interesting. With this new passive format, there's so much that they can do to like further condense this and like make things nice and legible from here on out. It's a really nice base. I love what they've done with it. But anyway, okay. So, yeah, on super, he gets the 200%. From the 5th turn, he's randomly going to change something to int. Okay. For every key sphere obtained, he gets 40% attack and 30% defense, and he recovers 12,000 HP. Okay, that's good. 30% defense per orb obtained is not bad. Okay, for every rainbow key sphere obtained, he gets 33% crit and 22% damage reduction. I'm not actually sure if the up to 60... I would assume that the up to 66% is only for this and not for this. Though they are listed in the same bullet point here, so it's probably both are limited to 66%. Interesting, though. So then you need to get 3 rainbow key spheres. And he is rainbow key sphere changing for himself at the very beginning of the turn. Dude, he's looking not so bad. Okay, when there's a super class enemy, he gives himself an additional 100% stats and then 30% support to the rotation. And then with extreme class, he just does the same thing, but it's a little bit less. Okay, he looks pretty solid. I think that he's going to be... definitely have some use, yeah. Man, I mean, if you were to put him with an int orb changer at all, he's going to be, like, stupid. I might... Interesting. Yeah, I'll probably eventually do, like, some videos with this guy alongside, like, the Fireworks Vegeta, 50% support and stuff. See what we can make happen with him. Yeah, this guy looks pretty good. And, you know, again, it's just another addition to Majin Buu Saga, another addition to Uncontrollable Power, to Majin Power. Like, some of these demonic power, some of these categories just can't help but continuously get buffs. And then, obviously, there's like a million good Buu units in the game right now, so he's going to have no problem finding a spot in the meta. Yeah, I'm actually pretty excited for this guy. I think he looks pretty good. That's cool. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at the Super Vegito here. Is the Goku? Yeah, I'll get rid of him. Okay, so same deal with the passive, or with the leader skill. That hasn't changed, obviously. All right, we've got 200% stats at the beginning of the turn, 40% damage reduction. They didn't raise that, did they? Receiving a normal was... oh, he didn't have any... and then they made it 80% when receiving a normal. I see, I see. So now he has 40% damage reduction no matter what, and then he gets an additional 40% when receiving a normal. Okay, that's good. This is definitely going to help him have a fighting chance tanking against a super attack. Though with these counter characters, I would still always recommend that you go full dodge with them. Okay, so when attacking with, when super attacking, basically, this is one of the weirdest verbiages that they've changed up that I'm going to have to get used to, because it used to just be when performing a super attack, but now it's when key is 12 or more, right? And then imagine if there was a unit that performed a super attack earlier than 12 key, they would probably just change that number right here to be like when with 9 or more key, if that's when they super, right? Okay, so 150% stats on super. And then for every attack received, he is getting 25% up to 100% stats and 15% crit up to 60. So once he's received 4 attacks, then he is fully built up, and he's going to be critting, doing a lot more damage. That's good. Okay, when HP is 50% or less, that used to be 40% or less, right? That he could foresee. Okay, so that went up a little bit. That's good. When 50% or less, you guard all attacks. Oh, and he's going to foresee enemy super attack for 2 turns. So that's going to help out the opposite rotation from him as well. Well, that's pretty good. If you leave him on rotation, that means that when you're below 50% HP, you're always going to have a scouter. So that's pretty good. And then he also does get the guard in there too. Man, yeah, they've given him, they've buffed him up quite a bit. And then he's got the same deal with the stat buffing based on if you are super or extreme enemies. And then obviously he gets more with the extreme class enemies. Yeah, okay. I think it's likely that if we take him into the hardest content in the game, he's still not going to be built defensively, like, well enough to tank supers. I imagine he's still going to get destroyed there. I mean, because he's going to have, what, 40% damage reduction and then just whatever stats. And then we also have to keep in mind his super attack effect, which again doesn't change with super EZAs, unfortunately. He's just raising allies' attack, but he doesn't give himself any more defense. So the fact that these numbers aren't looking like insanely high, I mean, 150% on super is good, but yeah, I still don't think that he's going to be able to live like a super attack from Goku, Frieza, and stuff. He is AGL though. AGL's a really good typing to be these days because a lot of the hardest bosses are STR right now. So yeah, this guy looks pretty solid too. I think he's going to be very, very fun to run. And obviously he's going to have a real tight spot on whatever new 10th anniversary teams. Obviously the headlining unit being a unit that transforms into a Super Vegito. I can imagine this guy's going to have a spot on his team. But yeah, he doesn't have quite as many categories. I think that the Boo is going to be buffing like a lot more categories. He's on Glorio's team though, so that's nice. Battle of Wits, accelerated battle here. And then Majin Buu Saga, obviously. And another strong Super Saiyans option. Ooh, actually, yeah. This is good because he is now going to make my Dokkan event team. A lot of the times I use like a Super Saiyans team, so you can get the LR Super Saiyan trio. That's got the you know, turn 3 active skill and stuff. I might put him on because having counter attacks on Dokkan events could help them go a little bit quicker too. If there's like slot 1 attacks that are going to be slowing you down and stuff. Okay, well, yeah, good stuff. I definitely am looking forward to both of these units. I think they have very, very prematurely released the info for these guys. They put them in the data download like a long time before they needed to. There's going to be another data download that happens before these guys are in game, so they should have just added them later, but it's totally fine. I believe these guys aren't going to be coming out until like after part 1 starts and the new anniversary headliners are already in the game, and then these guys are going to be getting their you know, their super easy A's here. Okay, so I think that's everything we have to talk about with them. Let's go back to the thread and see what else we've got here. So we've got a new wallpaper is going to be, I think just on login we'll get it. Apparently it's animated. It's not really showing it well on Twitter here. It's not actually showing like the animation, but this is supposed to show like an animated version of it. I don't know why it's like broken or not loading, but we'll have to wait and see that in game. I imagine that these little stars and whatever on the Dragon Balls are just going to be sparkling, so it'll be kind of cool. Similar to like the Chi-Chi and Goku's wedding wallpaper that we have, where it has like the little shimmery stuff. Probably going to do similar effect. Okay, then we've got the 10th anniversary coins. So obviously they do this for every anniversary. They give us some coins that we'll be able to collect through doing missions and logins and things like that. And just various rewards they'll give us throughout the celebration that will allow us to pick up tons of good rewards with like meat and kais and keys and potential orbs, you know, all kinds of stuff like that, support items. And then most importantly, there's going to be an extensive list of characters in there, which I'm always very excited to see. All of the previous anniversary login units will be there, as well as the worldwide download celebration units that used to release. The free-to-play ones, that one would be given to Global, one would be given to JP. All of those are going to be available in this shop as well. Something interesting to note is that in-game, in the Countdown Celebration, we have been getting some missions for the 10th anniversary. They were basically making us go and play different random challenge events and re-clear them, and then upon clearing them, you would earn some of these 10th anniversary coins. Those coins looked exactly the same as this, except for they were silver, not gold. So they are actually a different asset that we've been given in the Countdown Celebration. This is different than what they've done before, because usually they do give out some of these coins in the Countdown Celebration just to get you hyped for what's going to be going on during like when the anniversary actually drops. But it's usually the exact same currency, and then you'll go into this coin shop and see that you already have some of them obtained. So yeah, I'm curious to see what they're going to do with that. I'm not sure why they made a different one, if it's because we're going to be able to purchase different things with it, or if there's just straight up going to be a conversion thing in the shop where you can spend your silver anniversary coins on gold anniversary coins, or there's something else you can get in there too, so you could also buy that if you wanted to, but then you could just transfer them into these coins if you needed. I'm not sure what they're going to do, so we'll see. We'll have to wait and see what that's going to look like. Then we've got these little reward tickets. Again, a brand new thing. We don't know what these are going to be used for. It says for the event Dokkan Chronicles, so there's going to be some new event that we are gonna face here that's gonna give us this new kind of reward, so we'll see what that looks like as well. I don't know. Here's what I would hope. I would hope that this reward ticket for Dokkan Chronicle allows us to get old wallpapers. I think that would be really cool. Obviously, they could throw some various other rewards in there too for people who have collected all the wallpapers over time. But yeah, I think that would be neat because right now there's no way to earn any old wallpapers that you didn't get during, whatever celebration they released in. You can't get them anymore. Obviously, there's a lot of wallpapers that are available permanently through certain missions. So as long as you just clear the missions of that content, you'll be able to get it. And that'll never go away, but there are countless time-limited, like celebration exclusive wallpapers that we've earned over time too. So it would be cool to see some type of currency, even if this was only available during the anniversary and then maybe during like the worldwides and stuff. So that you have a very limited times per year to be able to pick up the old wallpapers. It would be cool to still have a way to do it, right? Similar to like these coins, these allow you to pick up the previous anniversary login units if you didn't get them during whatever anniversary, they initially released in. Okay, then moving on, we've obviously got the purple stone here. This is going to be a purchasable one that's going to allow you to pick up, really, really strong Dokkan Fest characters and stuff. Usually you have to buy like the most expensive packs in the Baba shop in order to get these. So we'll have to wait and see what the list of characters looks like when that releases. I'll be making a guide video on how to use any and all of the free stones or paid stones that they give us throughout the anniversary celebration. Okay, and then, this is where we got to take a big pause. This is big. This is huge. So, if you're not familiar, this Dragonstone right here is called a Memorial Dragonstone. Previously, they have only ever released these Memorial Dragonstones in the Worldwide Download Celebration. So the way that they work is that you spend Dragonstones for an entire year from one Worldwide Download Celebration to the next, and then at the start of the Worldwide Download Celebration, they will calculate the amount of Dragonstones that you've spent since the previous cutoff period from the previous year. And this is Dragonstones that you spent on anything, right? Not just summons, but if you've refreshed your stamina, refreshed the Baba shop, change someone's hidden potential nodes, anything that you would spend a stone on in-game, it counts. And then for every 50 stones you spend, you get one of these Memorial Dragonstones. And then they give you all of your Memorial Dragonstones that you're able to either purchase units in the shop with. It gives you basically every single Dokkan Fest unit in the game up to a certain point. And they all cost 150 stones in the shop, or you can just convert them 1-to-1 into tickets that you can use on these massive banners that have every single Dokkan Fest on them, right? And then you can just see, like, try your luck at summoning, right? So now they're seemingly going to add these for the anniversary, and people are a little bit confused. They don't know quite what this is going to mean, right? So if these did operate the exact same way as the Worldwide Download Celebration Memorial Stones, then what it would mean is these are going to calculate every single stone that you've spent since the beginning of the 9th anniversary, would be the, like, calculation period for that. I think it would be a bit odd for them to shadow drop something like that. I don't know if that's 100% how it's going to work. It would make sense, though. If they want to then make this like a new annual thing that they do, then it would just be a duplicate of what we get during the Worldwide Celebration, right? It would just be another thing that we get during the anniversary. And I imagine that they would be on separate calculations. Like, it wouldn't be a thing of, like, they give us the Memorial Stones now, and then when the Worldwide Celebration starts in November, then they're only counting from this Memorial Stone to the Worldwide Celebration to calculate, like, how many stones they're giving us. I think they would still overlap it and go back to the, the previous Worldwide. So basically it would be like, anything that's after Worldwide and before Anniversary, you would just get double of, because it would count those for the next Worldwide, but it also counts them during Anniversary. And then vice versa for the next celebration. So basically you would just be getting double as many of these per year. So I think that could be a cool idea if they started to implement that. But there are a couple of other ideas that people have thrown out. One is like, some people think it's just straight up going to be every stone you've ever spent in your account since the very beginning of it, which, yes, absolutely, please, yes. That would be the coolest thing of all time, especially for someone like me, who has essentially become homeless at a point because of how much money I'd spent on Dokkan Battles. So, obviously in part, not fully, but yeah, that was one of the contributing factors for sure. I have spent a lot of money on this game. It would be really cool to see all of my efforts since the very beginning just acknowledged in one fell swoop. I think that would also be really cool as far as comparison stats for the community, just to see like everyone would finally have a rank of like how much they've spent on the game over time. And it wouldn't just be based on this, like, every year we kind of get to do a check-in thing. It would be, like, you legitimately of all time, how much have you spent, right? I think that could be an interesting ranking to see for the community. But yeah, so there's that people are talking about. And then there's this third option that I actually think is the most probable. And that is they would take a tally of every single stone you've spent within an anniversary celebration. So that goes all the way back to the first anniversary celebration, and then it would just continue on. So every stone you spent during the first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, and ninth anniversary would all be added up, and then you would get that amount of memorial stones here. And again, we don't even know what they're going to allow us to purchase with these memorial stones. If it's going to be a special selective list of characters, you know, if it's going to be straight up the new anniversary headliners themselves, if it's going to be the same thing they do with the Worldwide, where it's all the older Dokkan Fests, like, we just have no idea what they plan to do with this, right? So we really are going to have to wait and see, but this is very, very exciting, and I think of anything in this entire update, this is the most exciting piece to me. I am very, very anxious with anticipation to know what they're going to do with this. Okay, then obviously we've got the tons of thanks tickets. We know how these work already. They're going to be giving these out little by little throughout the anniversary, and then I believe in like part 3, they will open up ticket versions of all of the headlining banners and allow you to use your tons of thanks tickets for free to try and get some of the anniversary headliners, right? So we'll have that to look forward to as well. Okay, and then it looks like they're going to be revamping some old support items. So both of these support items, this one during the first anniversary and this one during the third anniversary, had really, really cool effects. Basically, these effects that you're seeing right here. They had these really, really good effects, and then post-anniversary, they actually changed what the item was, and it had a worse effect, right? So it only had the really strong effect during the anniversary. Now, I don't know if it's going to be the same way this time around. They're just releasing more of them that we can earn during this anniversary, and then same way, they'll just convert into the, you know, lesser version of themselves afterward, or if they have put these in here because they're planning on just implementing these as real items, right? In which case, this one obviously isn't the biggest deal. Like, key 12 for one turn is not, like, that huge of a thing for you. It's not often that you would need more than, like, 3 key at a time, and there's already items that give you a couple of key. But this one's pretty good, I would say. All allies key 4, and then damage reduced by 20% for 3 turns is really good, right? Like, obviously, Whis is 40%, but it's only 2 turns. The fact that this effect lasts for 3 whole turns is really, really strong. And it speaks volumes that there's another support item that we can use to stack damage reduction, right? At this point, you can now actually use enough support items to just give yourself 100% damage reduction. Like, it would be kind of interesting. I think if a Super Battle Road stage or something like that releases, I might end up using this item a little bit just to see what kind of value we can get out of it. 3 turns is a long time. You can do a lot with that. So yeah, those are going to be interesting. Okay, and then bringing up the rear, the very last thing that we've got here is a limit key that's going to be coming out. Apparently, we're going to be able to farm up skill orbs from a Portal of Memories event. So this is something they do during the anniversary sometimes. They'll release a special event that they want to give us limited attempts on. So rather than making it like something we can only attempt once per day or once per week, they just straight up throw it in the Portal of Memories, give us a finite amount of keys, and then once you've played it, and you can't do it anymore, right? So yeah, this will be interesting to see what kind of skill orbs we're going to be getting, if these are going to be category specific for the new categories that we're seeing, the Earth Protecting Heroes and Successors, or if these are going to be character specific, things that we can, you know, get for like new anniversary headliners or new like anniversary units, like free-to-play units and stuff like that. I don't know. So we'll have to wait and see specifically what events are going to release with this key. All right, and yeah, that is everything in this massive wall of an update. There is, I'm sure, a lot more to come as still, but that's everything that we've got for now. So let me know if you guys have any questions, comments, concerned about all the stuff that we just went over. Let me know what you guys are the most excited about, looking forward to. We've only got a couple of short days left until the anniversary starts. Thank you guys so much for sticking with me, and stay tuned for more anniversary hype coming up. Peace.